Okay, so this is the last video in this particular series as promised, and I want to talk about the memory modules. So the random access memory, the memory modules, you'll hear them called other DDR3, DDR4 is the kind of series or the generation of memory. Those are a set of modules you see here that that hold the information while it's being processed. So unlike your hard disks or solid state hard drives that hold the information when the computer's off, in this instance the memory modules process the information while the computer is running. They generally don't hold information, but they are essential for the processing of that information when the computer is in action. This again is one of the more straightforward upgrades. So if you look at CPU Z here, though, you'll know what how many slots you've got in your computer. Most computers will have 4 memory module slots. Your computer manual or a Google search will tell you how big those individual modules can be, so the maximum memory you can put in your computer. And then you need to make sure that if you're just upgrading the memory in your existing motherboard, then you need to make sure you get the right type of memory. So as I say, DDR3 or DDR4. I think there is a DDR2 on some of the older boards. In my opinion, if you've got memory that old, you probably need to think about upgrading your motherboard as well as the memory. It isn't really, in my opinion, worth buying new memory for such an old motherboard. Sorry if you find that insulting if you've got an old motherboard, but I think some of the progress with, particularly through DDR3 and DDR4, and the way the processors engage with the memory, they've moved on in leaps and bounds. So the memory module is relatively straightforward. It's they look different, so some of them will have kind of heat spreaders and different outside colours, and some you have lights on. But in the main, it's just a strip of connections with some technology on it that holds information. They go into a set of connections on the motherboard, a straight slot. The main thing you need to remember is there's a little hole in the middle, a fitting hole that will only go in one way around, so it's worth checking which way around it is. You need to have the right type of memory, so if it's a DDR4 type motherboard, you need to buy DDR4 memory. The memory will come in different speeds. The speed will be expressed in gigahertz, so you'll see 2000, 2400, 3000, 3200. I would personally say buy the fastest memory that your motherboard will support, though it can get more expensive the faster it gets. It is the general received wisdom is that it is better to have them in pairs. So if you've got 4 slots, it's better to put memory in 2 or 4 slots rather than 1 or 3. I think I said in an earlier video I've got 1 memory module in because my motherboard just doesn't like, for some reason, the dual channel memory. It seems to play up, and I don't know whether that was the memory module I had at the time. But usually it's better to have it in pairs, have it in the dual memory modules, so 2 of the 4 banks or 4 of the 4 banks filled. Simply all you need to do is, if you look at what memory you've got already, you can get faster memory and just click that in, or more memory. So increasing the memory means that you can put more information into memory at any one time, so the processor isn't moving information backwards and forwards, it actually is faster. And it's as simple as there's a little clip at the side. You just pull the clip to the pull the clip down and the memory module will clip out. Put the new memory module just in the fixed clip, just put the end into the memory module, make sure it's the right way around where the middle slot is, and then literally push it down firmly, but not too firmly. So firm enough and it will click into place. You'll hear it click into place, and then you know that it's actually fixed, and the little retaining clip that you pull down the side will clip back up and hold it in place. And you just repeat that for each of the memory modules. And that really is it for memory, whether you're fitting it to a new board or upgrading an existing board. It's literally a matter of taking the old module out, putting the new module in. There are only one or two factors that can be a bit of a pain. So one is if you've got a larger cooler for the CPU, and we dealt with the cooler in the CPU module earlier on, then it can sometimes get in the way of the memory, and you might be constrained as to how many memory modules you can put in, or you might need to make sure you put the cooler the right way around. So you might just want to think ahead, depending on how much memory you want to put in your board and how massive your computer CPU cooler is. I think that really is the main thing for the memory modules. I would say you can get, the faster you can get, as I say, the better. Get a known make and look at the reviews of the memory modules before you buy them. In my opinion, you can get some quite cheap memory modules, but you get what you pay for. So I would encourage you not to buy the cheap OEM memory modules and buy a known make that's got some good reviews, because that can really go to the heart of the stability of your computer, because that's where all the information is moving backwards and forwards between the memory module and if you have any problems either starting the computer or I mentioned in the graphics card video that we get some blue screens where the computer was actually crashing, then the second thing to look at is the memory module. It's worth taking them out and just refitting them, or if you've got two modules, taking one of them out and just seeing if the same problem occurs, because they can be quite critical to the computer running smoothly. They're really simple to fit. You need to make sure they click into place, but you might need to refit them or just make sure they've clicked in properly if the computer is playing up, because it's one of the main causes, in my experience, of the computer not being very settled. So hopefully that's covered the ground. I think it has. Again, if you've got any comments, any thoughts, feel free to leave them. Feel free to subscribe, click the bell, and then you'll get updated if new videos are uploaded. And that's all I've got for you in this video. I'll catch you next time.